then go back into it.
I how real it is. That's real life. It's not, a lot of times the meditations are these like fantasy sequences. It's like, oh, imagine you're somewhere that's unrealistic. But even if you were at a fantasy beach, you still have your real phone.
Right, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you could do just that as a podcast. With you talking just like that, I would listen to it.
Yeah.
You remind me of when Jordan and I were in Dover, Delaware for Firefly Festival, and there were these woods you go into, and everyone's tripping and stuff, and there's a guy just sitting there with his violin just talking just like that. And then just like, I don't know, it was...
Yeah.
But he was saying like such funny stuff, and then if you even notice you laugh, he would like start talking about you as he's doing this thing or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, what is he saying?
Yeah.
We're just like laying in the hammocks, and anyway, I just had to say that.
Yes. Well, he doesn't have a violin, but he is here, and he's our guest today.
Yes, on Sessions with Mary Jane.
Yes. Jordan, would you like to introduce our guest for today?
This is Sessions with Mary Jane with Brendan O'Brien, Reena Ezra, and Jordan Freed.
Yes.
Your guest today.
We're too excited.
We're trying to eventually one time as stoners like get the opening right.
Nah.
Oh, right, yeah.
But today we have comedian, filmmaker, teacher, producer,
wearer of the color purple at the moment.
And
it's true.
Co-host of Stoner Morning Show, co-founder of Stoner Morning Show, Shawn Wickens.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's too many things that I do. Is what I... You know what I mean? Like, it would be nicer to just come up with one word that describes me, I feel like. That would... I don't know, I just like being concise.
Yeah.
That's the word to describe you?
I mean, no, I would rather come up with a concise
word.
Yeah, descriptor.
A word that is like concise.
Can you think of one for yourself?
It's something that I have been thinking about lately, because I've also been thinking about maybe somehow not calling myself comedian. Only as though just to differentiate myself a little bit.
From the other comedians?
Just, I guess. Right. Also from comedy in general, just because people are mad about comedy. Even the people who are comedians, they're like, they're always complaining about it.
Yeah.
They're complaining that it's a bad time for comedy, and which is like, so many times I'm around comedians and I'm like, I wish you were talking about something fun instead of complaining about stuff.
Yeah. What's the percentage of comedians you talk to that talk about things that are not fun things?
Oh, well, I think just a lot of times just going to an open mic and sitting there and just like hearing people complain about stuff was just a drain. You know? I don't know, Jordan, did you think that going to open mics and stuff? Like,
for sure. Open mics killed me. Yeah. I hate open mics.
But some of them are also fun. Some of them are fun. Like, so there are some hosts that like really turn it into a fun experience. But some are just sort of like not happy to be there.
Yeah, like
especially
like, I don't know, did you start in Cleveland? Or
kind of. I tried doing stand up and I failed. And I like refused to take a class in stand-up because I thought, well, if I have to take a class in it, obviously then I'm not supposed to do it. I was like, oh, you have to be born to do it or something. But I took writing classes there and then took improv classes in New York.
Cool.
And then kind of didn't try stand-up for 10 years. And then...
Were you doing improv in that time?
Yeah, I was doing improv, and then I was asked to submit a show at the Pit for like some solo show festival, and I was like, I don't know what to... They were like, oh, you know, come up with a character to do or something like that. And I was like, I don't know how to do characters, but I can tell... And I don't know how to tell jokes. This is before I realized I could write a joke. I was like, oh, I don't know how to write jokes. So I was just like, I'll just tell funny stories. And so I went to open mics just practicing funny stories. And then, but being on stage and getting comfortable doing that, I like tricked my brain into writing jokes. Because I was just telling stories, but then I would come up with new stories to tell, and then I would edit them down, and some of them started as like 2 paragraphs, and then just, I could say what I want to say just in one sentence. So I like discovered that a lot of times jokes are just stories with all the unnecessary stuff taken out of it.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That's
really cool.
That's what I think.
That's really cool.
That's really
You don't have to think
I
that as
definitely
well.
going from improv to comedy, I just did it in telling stories.
Oh yeah.
But like I don't do stand up at all. I don't consider myself a stand up comedian. I'm not because I did it for a very, very short period of time and then I was like, I'm done. It's made me way too anxious. But then for you to like do that, I don't know. That sounds just like a formula, though. I wonder how many other people, if they've come to that conclusion in their process.
I know that Richard Pryor said in some interview or in some book that he started out as a joke teller and then became a storyteller and just threw in jokes. So I really think about comedy as like being on a spectrum between joke tellers and storytellers. And Stephen Wright only tells jokes, even though some of them sound like stories. But then Mike Birbiglia like only tells stories.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Those are my like extreme examples in my mind.
Yeah.
Well, shall we? Oh my God.
It's hidden. Huh?
Shall we challenge? No, I just think I'm talking like Sean Connery now. Anytime I say the shush syllable.
I'll definitely take a challenge, but I did have a thought on the way over here.
Oh yes, what was your thought?
Yes.
And weirdly, in the last year, I've been thinking more. I've been having just weird like business ideas. Like I had one the other day where it was like, there should be some company that markets body pillows to single men, and the catch is that you can. It sounds so sad of an idea, but I think it's funny. It's like you can order a body pillow and have it scented like your ex-girlfriend's hand lotion or shampoo or body wash. But I feel that it sounds hilarious, but I also feel like that could be a business that exists. You know what I mean?
I feel like that it does exist.
Yeah. And I told somebody else about it, and it's like, oh, you're talking about sex pillows, and I was like, no, I'm talking about body pillows, something to cuddle, but
there are just those cuddle pillows.
Yeah. So if your friends are over and they see you have a body pillow, they don't think it's an indication that you're sad that you miss your ex. They just think it's a body pillow.
Right.
But little do they know.
But then it has that subtle touch. Yeah, exactly.
But what if one of them grabbed that pillow and tried using that pillow and like folded it up? That'd be kind of weird.
Yeah.
It has like her exact birthmark.
Well, it also doesn't look like her.
Oh, it does.
It's just like a huge thing. But it's not shaped.
It's not shape of a human. Does it have 2 arms, 2 legs? And
no, I think it is like sort
a dummy.
I think it's sort of bowling pin shaped.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, if you like bowling, also that's a win-win right there.
But anyway, so here's something I thought about when I was just walking over, and it's that I live in New York, and there's a lot of like tourism there. Like eventually it'll be back, But I thought about starting a tour guide business where. So the excitement isn't that you're going to be with somebody who really knows New York. Your tour guide is somebody who's going to pretend that they are also visiting New York. So you can have the thrill of this like extra enthusiasm. But the thing is that I would never actually hire tour guides. I would just link people up together.
Yeah. That's so great.
Yeah. And just like tell them, all right, somebody's the actual tour guide, but everyone's just pretending to have fun.
Yeah. No one knows who the tour guide is. Someone's suddenly guiding this tour along.
Right.
Because
then, like, inevitably somebody would just take the reins of just like, well, I want to see the Empire State Building. And then everyone would be like, I think that's the tour guide.
Yeah. The trick is there is no tour guide. You let the personalities manifest themselves.
Oh my God, how do you make this happen? This is great.
I don't know. Yeah, you just Craigslist.
Everything happens on
or Groupon.
Yeah. Honestly, if you just stand on the street corner and you say you give like a very like affordable price for a tour, people will come to you.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, because I was working on the corner, on one of the corners of Times Square. It's like kind of barking like for a restaurant for a while, and like people are so willing to talk to you. Like if you have something to offer them, like a lot of them will ignore some of like the people they don't want to talk to. Like the strip club guys have a very hard time because like. Especially during the day, because they're out there during the day too, trying to get people to come in there like for like the later night shift.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who like want because they're like they want like the New York experience of talking to like a real New Yorker. Who's there,
A real New Yorker, a college kid from upstate.
That's right. Hey, still New York, baby. All right, shall we challenge Shawn?
Sure.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, all right. So you are the host of Stoner Morning Show.
Yeah.
So in honor of that, we were thinking we were going to challenge you with coming up with as many TV talk show hosts as possible.
Is this late night or
Like-
any talk show host?
Any time of the
What do we
day.
decide?
Any time of the
Oh,
day.
Like, I
Really?
just have to list off names of hosts.
Yes.
Shouldn't
Okay.
we narrow that and make it harder?
Isn't it more than that
gonna
he
get
has to
so
come
many-
up with? Oh, you're just saying he's going to be able to name so many. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is with Mary Jane, as we like to
Yeah,
say.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
So the rest of this will just
Oh,
be silence until I think of more names.
Exactly. No. Basically, we'll just carry on with the conversation, and then
Oh,
you
yeah.
interrupt us whenever you want to, and
Yeah.
and just like shout out a name when you think of it, and like we'll write them down and have them for you.
Oh, okay.
And we'll check to make sure they are real as we
Yeah.
get into the deep depths of potentially, is that really a talk show person? Do they sound like they have the name of a talk show person?
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, I think who's the highest person we've had? Not highest. We've had a lot of high people.
Yeah, many
Who's the
high
the highest scorer of the high people?
I'd have to
Do you
go
have the
in
spreadsheet? PA!
Oh yeah.
PA, get in here!
PA is always listening.
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you on that. I think. I
Well,
have
while
it
we're
written down.
possibly getting that number, I'll just throw out Johnny Carson. I want to say Gary Shandling, even though he played a character. So I'll put Gary Shandling and Larry Sanders, even though I feel like that might be
Because they're fictional,
cheat.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never actually seen like anything
Larry
with Gary Shandling or like the Larry Sanders stuff.
The Larry Sanders
We'll count
show.
Gary Shandling.
Yeah. well, at least write
Duality.
it. Well, at least write it.
It'll be in the
down.
record books regardless.
Yeah.
We'll see what the PA thinks
Yeah,
because he is also our referee.
I think our buddy Bert Piper has the highest.
What was that
He's
challenge?
got the highest.
Broadway
He did, like
musicals.
30.
Oh wow.
Or something. Yeah, he knows. Oh, there were so many.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah.
He had I think he did have 45. You have it on your bag. You
I'm not
recorded
even going to
it.
shoot for that many.
That's okay. You just get as many as you can get.
Yeah, you're right.
and we
You
don't
gotta
get
beat
upset.
45.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Larry Sanders show is very good, and I didn't watch it until, like, my former girlfriend got somebody's HBO Go password, you know, like in the last 4 or 5 years. And, well, I liked Gary Shandling, not as a comedian, but I remember reruns of his old show, It's the Gary Shandling Show, which was, I've tried to find, like, reruns of it. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. But, so I was already a fan of that, and I think maybe I saw his stand-up, and I was just, like, kind of unremarkable. or just, like, very dated in the 80s. But their show is really good, because I think he even said it is about coworkers, but it's about coworkers trying to be a family and trying to get along.
Yeah.
Which was very
Profound.
yeah.
Some would say Zen.
That's a deep cut reference for any comedy nerds.
The Gary Shandling doc.
Yeah. On HBO.
Plugging HBO Max.
Yeah.
Thank you, Warner Brothers. We love you.
They do
Warner
have
Media,
good stuff.
thank you
It's
for-
hard not to when
Yeah.
they have good stuff.
I'm gonna go. All right, Chevy Chase. Like
What are your thoughts on Chevy?
Oh well, I grew up loving him, but then you hear he's an asshole, and then it just sounds like you don't want to root for the guy or laugh for him.
I
You
had the same
know.
conflict. Yep.
Um,
I know what you
but
mean.
Fletch is hilarious.
Wait, which show was Chevy Chase the host for?
There was like the Chevy Chase show.
Really?
last
Yeah,
of the
that's what it's
year.
called.
And I think it was on the same time as
It was short.
Arsenio. And,
Yeah, it was only a year.
and
Wow. Arsenio.
Arsenio
too.
didn't last that long either. Did he? How long did he last?
I think he stepped away or something like that. I think he chose to end it. I don't know. But I think Chevy Chase show was supposed to compete with Arsenio Hall, who was huge at the
I
time.
think there was a thing with Arsenio Hall though where they wanted you to think he stepped away, but they actually got rid of him because there was a. That's what I'm trying to remember, and I think it is Arsenio. Sorry
I
to
don't
interrupt
know.
you, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because he said
Arsenio
something.
Hall, nice.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have the list.
recording.
I got it.
You gotta go.
Because he said something that was just like offensive or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then Well, what's on your minds? I'm gonna try to think of more.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna continue with another story. I definitely want to know about the Stoner Morning Show.
Oh, sure.
How did that come about?
Well, my friend Lex Morales and I, we were doing a lot of road shows of like, well, stand up and some other like weird stand up adjacent kind of show. Which, I don't know, would take too long to describe. Anyway, we were like doing a lot of...
We got a long podcast. We go 3 hours if we need to.
Well,
more press for you, baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were just on the road as much as we could be, like doing festivals or like just doing shows in bars that, you know, friends had connections with. But we were always trying to brainstorm new ideas. And we were even talking about podcasts. And then Lex was like, let's do a podcast where we're drunk. And, which makes sense because, like, Drunk Shakespeare is a popular show in New York and, like, drunk history is a thing. Yeah. And I was like, I liked the idea, but I was also like, well, we're not really drinkers. I mean, we will go out and have a few beers, but we're usually, like, getting stoned on the road or, you know, that kind of thing. And so I was like, well, let's do something where we're stoned instead. And... but also for years I was thinking of wanting to do some stoner-centric show because I used to teach improv a lot. When I don't even know how I stumbled on this exercise, but if a team was not getting along, like if there was conflict within the group, that I, like, even if I didn't know what the source was, it was just sort of like you could tell there was conflict. I would make them in like, rehearsals, I would make them do scenes and I would say, I want you to play a stoner playing somebody else. So it's not that you're getting stoned in the scene, but I want you to play a stereotypical stoner playing a fire department chief, or a stoner playing a teacher, or a stoner playing a construction worker. And whenever people would do that, the scenes would always go well because they weren't worried about like doing good improv or worried about the rules. They were just sort of like, yeah, that's cool, like everything's fine. And it always made for funny scenes because nobody was like arguing. And so for years I would teach this, and even when I would go on the road sometimes, like just on vacation, I would find improv theaters wherever I was near to teach workshops there, and I would pitch a workshop called Kind Stoners.
Oh, that's awesome. Because
I was like, you have to like who you're on stage with. Like, one, the performers you should like, but you should also like the character that they're playing, because that usually leads to better things. Yeah. And so anyway, I was like, dude, we should do something where we're stoned. And also through improv, my favorite kind of comedy scene, specifically in improv, is where something is established that's very familiar. Like, oh, this is an office, or this is a bank, or this is a family. Like, something has to be very familiar, but then something is weird. And so I was like, what's weird with stoners? And then I was just sort of like, well, what if we were doing it was stoners trying to do a morning talk. And so we did that. I think we came up with that idea when we were in Louisville, Kentucky. We were there for like a Louisville Fringe Festival, and I was like, I have an in. We had to drive back from Louisville to New York. We were going to pass through Pittsburgh, and I was like, I know somebody who runs an improv theater in Pittsburgh. I'm going to email them right now and ask if we can do a stoner talk show, and they let us do it. And we only like 5 people showed up or something like that, and the show is not that great, but it was fun enough that we were like, oh, we have an idea here. And then we were trying to do it on the road a bunch, and then the pandemic happened, and then it sort of like went from live show to podcast to a live streaming thing.
Yeah.
That is how the best shows usually start, though.
Oh, yeah.
You just do them on a whim when you're like, I gotta do something different.
Right.
Let's try it out. Let's do it. That's awesome.
And I do like talk shows. I grew up watching late night shows like David Letterman, for example. Conan O'Brien. I never liked Conan O'Brien.
Same so yeah.
I liked Andy Richter more. Anyway, I always liked talk shows, and like I like stand-up as well, but there was a part of me that was like, what if I do a talk show instead of stand-up? Just because it's like you can still be funny, but there's the interesting thing of like the unknown. Like you don't know what your guests are gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's an element of danger.
Yeah.
Also, it's different than the late night talk show because those are so controlled, and the TV talk shows are so controlled.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like
Yes.
you could have longer form interviews now,
Yeah.
and you could really get the best out of people.
The TV talk shows are scripted.
Right, it's
So
true.
that's like, it is.
I also
100%
think
is.
somehow one of the seeds that led to the idea of Stoner Morning Show is like I just happened to be watching like a lot of TV news bloopers on YouTube.
Those are so fun. It's so
Yeah.
hard. It's so easy to like fall out of the wormhole.
Right, right.
Those.
And I mean, what makes it so funny is that it's like anything that happens, it doesn't matter, but they're working in this weird format where it's just sort of like things have to be a certain way. Like if anything goes wrong, it's bad. So that it's like when something does go wrong, it like affects them so deeply. Of like who cares if a microphone falls out of the, or like a microphone boom falls into the shot, or like it's such a innocuous thing that doesn't matter, but it like ruins everything for them.
Oh yeah, everybody gets fired if that happens.
Yeah, because
at least the guy who was responsible.
Yeah, right. Because it seems so unprofessional or something. I don't know. It's like a weird thing to play with.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like doing improv like made you more adaptable to like situations where you like were performing or like doing some kind of show and then all of a sudden things went wrong somehow?
Yeah, and I think like when I started to do stand-up, I had to like remind myself that I can roll with things, because there was like at the time when I was starting it, I was so concerned with repeating the jokes, how I had rehearsed them and written them, that I had to like remind myself that I can roll with things when things go different. Because the fun of improv is always that it's that. It's all right. It's live theater, but we don't have a script. Okay, well, we'll at least make it up or something like that. So it was like it's somehow more powerful than scripted theater, because it's like if you go to a Broadway show and the power goes out, well, the show can't go on. Or if like actors don't show up, the show can't go on or something. You know what I mean? Like with improv, it's like there is a problem, but we'll get over it.
Yeah.
So I had to remind myself that I already had experience doing that when I was doing stand-up, because it was like, I think I was heckled by a friend, and I didn't know how to respond to it. And then afterwards, I was like, I should have just rolled with it or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't have gotten so thrown.
It's a different environment though, right? Like, you're in a different headspace when you're doing stand-up, because a lot of it is trying to remember like the way you wrote the jokes and trying to be focused on that. So if you do get thrown off by intervention, then like it really throws a wrench to your plans.
Oh yeah. I do sometimes teach stand-up, and I always tell people, because a lot of them don't have improv experience, so in some ways I'm trying to like impart improv skills when I'm teaching like how to write.
Double agent.
Nice.
Yeah. And I always say that if you are nervous on stage, or if you lose your place, just say to the audience that you've lost your place.
Yeah.
Because it's like denying the truth and the reality is like will be worse than if you just admit to what's going on.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because like that's like acknowledging that you care about the intelligence of the audience. Because like if everyone knows something went wrong, it's just like call attention to it and then just move on from it.
Right.
It is the one like form of comedy also where you do break the fourth wall. Like improv, you don't really break the fourth wall besides like talking to the audience to get a suggestion, but then for the most part you're not interacting with the audience unless you're doing something that's kind of experimental. But like with stand-up, like that's all part of it. Like the audience is part of the show, and like how much you interact, that's like playing up your skills as a comedian. Like if you could get the audience to say something funny, if you could get the audience to laugh a bunch, you're a legend. Like
well,
it's being an entertainer. Like in any form you are as an entertainer, you have to, like, that's just when you make that pivot. Is that your broader Maybe that is entertainer, the one word that describes you.
Oh, yeah.
Or creative.
Maybe.
What is your how did you I don't know. How did you know that you're just I'm this person who's going to start doing this, and this is my creative. This is your creative outlet. I'm assuming.
Yeah. I think it was that. Well, I kind of wanted to. I was too afraid to try to get on stage when I was in high school and college.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I think I might be able to perform somehow. I knew I was funny with friends, and I don't know. It was I was so afraid to try for so long, but I still wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, if the drive to want to do it is still there, I guess I should try to do it.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest, once I took writing classes and once I started, experimenting with improv and stuff like that, the compliment I would get most just from friends was you're funny. You know what I mean? It was sort of I guess I should keep trying to be funny then, and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about performing? Is it the immediate feedback? Is it just the way it makes you feel? What is it that you love the most about it?
It's kind of, I think, the just surprise of. I mean, even if you're doing jokes that you've written, there is still a lot of unexpected things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just think of a new way to tell a joke, in the moment, or you think of a new tag in the moment, or it's just a very thrilling and unexpected thing. Sometimes people will heckle you, but then you have the perfect comeback or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's the surprise of it, but there's also the surprise of coming up with it in a way, because there's a lot of times when anything that you try on stage that you think it's funny, you're sharing it because you thought it was funny first. Mm-hmm. I feel like, and I mean we can go into more of the stuff you think is funny that it just doesn't work. Opposed to the stuff you think is funny that it does work. I don't know, but a few months ago, I was just when it was October. It was the times did feel different, and I really was not trying to be creative, just because I was going through a moment of what's the point of doing it? Mm-hmm. What's the point of even? Not only what's the point of doing it now, Shawn, what was the point of you ever trying to do it? That kind of horrible thoughts, But I was sitting at home alone. I wasn't upset at the moment. I was just sort of just not trying to be funny or anything or think of funny things. But I was just sitting at home and I was listening to music and I was a little stoned. But I had 5 different premises just spring to my mind without trying to think of anything, and they fit together so well. And I immediately started bragging on social media. I was I just wrote the best 10 minutes of my life. and I even people thought I was joking, and I was responding back to friends. I was I'm being very serious.
Oh my God.
And I booked it at a live show in Brooklyn, and I started telling people, I was this is the best 10 minutes of my life. Not a lot of friends showed up, but people said they were going to show up, but it was a good crowd.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I even told the host, I was this is going to be an incredible 10 minutes. And then it worked, and I felt I lived up to the potential. And it was the amazing thing was I didn't sit down and try to write this stuff. It was just shit that happened. And I thought it all fit together so well.
Oh, that's such a great feeling.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes you gotta unblock yourself.
Yeah.
You got that mental block in front of your brain, because your brain is just a bunch of circuits.
Yeah.
So if you block the circuit, then your brain can't get to where you need to go.
Yeah. But I did also Oh, you've heard that 10 minutes because I did.
Oh yeah, I was on one of the shows.
Yeah.
You heard his.
I did.
I heard his best
10 minutes.
Legendary 10 minutes.
It's also released somewhere, right?
Yeah,
People
I did
can
it.
get it somewhere.
I did it.
Where can they get it? Give our good fans a plug.
I did it live 5 times, or not live. I did it over Zoom 5 times. Jordan opened for me on one of those times, but and then I picked the best one, and then I uploaded it to Spotify. So if you look up the best 10 minutes of my life, or if you look up my name, Shawn Wickens, you can hear those 10 minutes.
Nice.
Awesome.
It's actually 11 and some change, but I joke that the best 10 minutes are within that 11 and a half minutes.
See, the real challenge is to find the 1 minute and 36 seconds.
Yeah.
That need to be edited out.
Jay Leno is a host.
Yes, he
Steve
is.
Harvey is a host. Ellen DeGeneres is a host.
Oh, he is
Correct.
going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alan Thicke had a talk show. Joan Rivers.
Oh, yeah. Wait, Alan
Neil deGrasse Tyson does a live show called Star Talks, I think.
Wow.
He has a whoa.
Really? Wait, is it still on?
Well, I think it was a podcast, but they did it live a few times.
On TV?
No, they did it like live in a theater.
It's
like
off.
No
It's
TV
off.
host.
It has to be.
Only TV host.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, buddy.
Host.
Yeah.
Talk
Broke
show
the
host.
rules.
Day show host.
27
Nighttime shows.
lashes.
Who's
Wendy
Alan
Wi-
Thicke? You said Alan Thicke.
Wendy Williams.
Yeah. Yep, that's one for sure.
Whoopi Goldberg is co-host of The View.
That counts.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the
That
Alan Thicke
counts.
show, yeah.
That counts.
It was a Canadian talk show. Oh. Wow, we're
Well,
going
yeah, we didn't
international.
specify. Are we talking about only single hosts? See, we gotta cover. We had to narrow down this list. This is a lot.
Okay. Fernwood Tonight was a scripted sitcom that was a talk show. Fernwood Tonight.
I think
But is it a
that's a little
sitcom?
too far. That's
Okay.
stretching.
Or a
it too
talk
far.
show. Those are two
Well,
separate things.
I guess it wasn't a sitcom. It was like it was a talk show, but it was scripted.
You're already on performance enhancing drugs. You don't
I don't. Well, what are your thoughts about comedy? I've been talking about it for.
Wait, can I ask
Wow.
you?
Yeah.
Because you're the first person on who's from this time in comedy,
Uh-huh.
and I kind of want to hear somebody talk about it on the podcast because
Okay.
like they don't really understand this time in my life.
All right,
Okay.
Reena, I hear you.
The 6 p.m. like Eastville shows era.
Oh,
could you
yeah.
could you talk any to that? I don't know. Like we don't have to name some names.
Oh,
like we
sure.
can name some names if it's funny, and maybe people will listen if we get all controversial. But like
Yeah.
obviously there's a booker who's booking us. But like
Yeah. Well, my thoughts. On it.
You hosted a little bit too, right? At times.
Yeah.
Like everybody would get
Yeah.
shifted in sometimes.
Yeah. My thoughts on it were mixed. And my thoughts on it were mixed, but it was like, it was experience. It was nice to be asked back regularly. It was nice to get paid for bringing people. But personalities were not fun a lot of the times. And it's not fun to work with somebody that you hear people saying bad stuff about, even though they're treating you right. But also, it's like having a boss that you like the job, but you don't like the boss as a person, but he is still kind of good to you. I guess that's what it was like.
Yeah, no, I think that is a very interesting
This
thing.
is a club you both worked at? What is?
We like so when I got back.
I think that's where we met.
Yeah, we met when I got back from college.
I met good comedians there. Yeah.
No, like it was like this booker
Okay.
basically had like the 6 p.m. slots on Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah.
Monday at 8 p.m. And then I think that was basically it. Sometimes he like got other days, but those were like the main days. And he would just have these like long ass lineups, but like
Oh yeah.
he would pay like the host, he would pay the headliner, so like
Right.
it was a good like situation, and like I would host a lot of those shows, which was like very good, like
Yeah.
to after college get some money, get some cash. Like I'm coming into the city from Warwick for the first shows that I was doing, and it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
$36, $32 to like get in from Warwick and go back.
Yeah.
And it's like if I'm not getting paid, it sucks, you know.
Yeah.
And like people are living in the city, and it sucks, and like. A lot of people force you to do bringers, and like his big thing was like, I don't do bringers.
Yeah,
I don't do
yeah.
bringers. Like, but I've gotten paid $300 from that dude, and then also been owed $100 from that dude. Like, it's been on the spectrum of like owing money and like being paid money, where I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally walking down a street with $300 in my pocket. Like, I'm 22 years old. Like, I should not have this type of money in my pocket right now.
No, it's like it was a good and mixed experience, I guess. And like coming from improv, where it was like a fun, usually fun environment, and it was a good place to learn like the tools of performing and stuff. Yeah. But you always felt sort of like underappreciated because there's no way you would ever get paid for doing an improv show. Yeah.
And that's like very topical now, especially with like a lot of these theaters getting shut down, a lot of their like toxic practices being exposed. But it's like it is part of the improv culture that it's always like improvisers don't get paid, and that's the way it is, right?
I think that's gonna hopefully change. Like as improvisers take back the producer power. I think like as theaters kind of are finding out they can't pay rent anymore and there's fewer and fewer spaces, like I feel like it is going to be more the improviser producers kind of creating shows on their own, which like unless you're learning for the first time, like you really don't need the theaters around you unless like you want to cultivate a space. Like that's ideal, but it's also like very hard to cultivate a space that is just improv. Like sometimes it's good to like have an improv circuit where improvisers are kind of popping around to different venues, and like there are places to learn improv, and then there's also places that are outside of the traditional improv spaces to like bring it to different audiences, bring it to more monetized audiences. Because like if you're at a bar, people will throw money at you. Like if you're making movies or at a movie theater, people will throw money at you. It's a ticket. Like you got to buy a ticket to go into a movie theater, you know? Like if you just adapt a little bit, I feel like the performers can figure out how to monetize it more. Because like if you could find spaces after this, which like there's a lot of spaces open. There's a lot of people who have had dreams of starting theaters that are probably going to start now that like all the dust is settled or some of the dust is settled. But it's a crazy world. Long rant.
Hope so. Needed some improv in this world right now.
It just sounds very depressing.
When was the last time you did improv?
Oh, maybe like 2 years ago. I kind of quit like 4 years ago or something like that, maybe 3. But I would get randomly asked to sit in on people's shows, and I would still like teach once in a while. So I've been around it.
It's the ASMR section of the podcast.
It's good.
We know you're out there. You've been waiting for this.
It's fun to just watch this. It's a different experience from only hearing it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I had this weird memory recently of being in a car and pulling up next to a guy on a motorcycle who had a dog in the sidecar, and the dog and I stared at each other for a while, and then the light turned green, and the motorcycle and the dog pulled away, and the dog just kept on looking at me as it was like it craned its neck to look at, and like I just had that memory recently, and I actually couldn't remember if it was a memory or if it was a dream, or if it was something that somebody told me happened to them, or if it was something I saw in a movie.
Yo, it gets crazy when you have that. You can't tell.
But
which it is.
And the reason I thought of that is because I saw a dog inside of a car that reminded me of the dog that was in the sidecar of that motorcycle.
Was it the same dog?
No, there's no way. But I still couldn't remember if it was.
Do you think
but did it look like the same breed in when you were?
I think it was the same breed because I saw this dog and it reminded me of that time I locked eyes with a dog in a sidecar, either in reality or not. Yeah.
Do you think this is a weed thing, or do you think this is an unrelated, like everybody could feel this thing? Because I feel like I've had some spiritual moments like that where I'm just like, I've lived this moment already. Yeah. I've had this thought already. Like, what's going on? Yeah, like very bad deja vu.
I think that is like that's people have the.
I don't think it's strictly a weed thing. I don't know. I do always wonder about the mindset of somebody who's never tried anything experimental, which I don't see myself as like, I don't know, I've only had a few psychedelic experiences. I don't even know if I would call that, I guess I would call myself a very casual, like once every 4 years user of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always think about somebody who's like never tried and never wanted. Like in some ways, maybe it's a nice way to exist. Of just sort of like, hey, these are the rules of reality. This is what, you know what I mean? Don't need to think much beyond like what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there is like an openness that I gained when I started doing psychedelics. Like marijuana opened me up to just like a level of acceptance that I never thought was possible, just based off of like strict upbringings, like old-fashioned small towns, stuff like that. Like once you can break out of that thinking and like open up your mind, like a lot can really change. And then once you get into the psychedelics, it really like broke my brain, like spirituality wise, you know, and like what is possible in the world, because you're like, oh, we're just perceiving the world. So if I take these drugs, I can perceive the world like oozing and stuff like that. And it's like just thinking deeper and deeper into what's possible is just a wonderful thing that makes me happier to be alive and be a human and be a person.
Hell yeah.
Have any of you read the book The Four Agreements?
No. What is it?
Oh. Well, it's a self-help book, which, well, I don't know. I'll just touch on it briefly. I went through a breakup a few months ago, and it was like, you know, I'm fine, but it was like weird. And so, but I was like, there's things I gotta identify about myself that I could improve on. And around the same time of thinking that, I came across this book called The Four Agreements, and it's like lessons that are based on this group of, I guess, witch doctors or monks that come from the Mexico area from, you know, centuries ago. It's just sort of like 4 things that you should remember about life moving forward. I don't know. I think it was like life changing. I've told a lot of people to read it.
Whoa!
It was a lot of.
So you're not going to tell us? You're not going to tell us?
No, I can't.
To read it.
It's you know, the 4 agreements that you're supposed to make with yourself. I guess I thought of this because you talked about traditional upbringing, and a lot of this is just sort of like you're broken because you were raised by broken people who are, you know,
generational trauma.
Yeah. But the 4 agreements you have to make with yourself are to speak impeccably, like really mean what you say and say what you mean. Don't take anything personally. Shoot, I'm gonna like forget these. The other 2.
2 is good. 2's a good.
I like the don't take anything personally one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I feel like that's definitely one of my essences. Like, it would have to be somebody like very close to me that I would take it personally if they were offended by something I did or like hurt by something I did, but with the exception of like the 15-person bubble or like 15 people away from me bubble, like I don't give a shit like about the world or like anybody, like it doesn't fucking matter, like you know, like I'm just living my life and like that person over there is living their life, and like everybody's gonna have very different opinions, so if you care about every single person's opinion, then you're never gonna be able to live. You know, you just gotta not hurt other people.
I just remember the other 2.
Hell yeah.
It's don't make assumptions. And then the last one is do your best. In that chapter, there's a lot of good stuff about like even your best is relative to where you are at the moment. So if you do something and it's not your best, still try to do your best. And I don't know. It's like it was a very good book.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but that is very interesting.
Also, we do. I don't think people talk about that enough. How like we operate at different levels every day.
Oh
like, I think
yeah.
people just expect you to be at your best every day, and it's like no, there are different levels of operation. Like I'm always at a medium level, you know, but some days I'm better.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you think I'm better, and then if I have a bad day, then you're like, what is this? And it's like, no, that's like what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's like I'm supposed to be around that medium level.
Right.
Life's about balance. I don't think you're ever going to be there. I just generally don't think, because something's always going to shift and something's always going to change, because your life is who you're around. And there's a chain reaction. You're connected to so many other people. People are your life. They're involved. So if something happens with them, it's going to affect you. Or something happens with anybody who you interact with or come across with, or I don't know.
Yeah,
like
it's
your
very-
job, or your job is people. Yeah, it's
very interesting thinking back on like, the different phases of your life and thinking about how you were at different ages and because like sometimes it does feel like you were a different person, or like you like feel like outside of like that experience, because like especially the further away you get from some of those experiences.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that too, because sort of like, with doing a show called Stoner Morning Show. But even years before that, teaching workshops called Kind Stoners. Like, none of my friends would really describe me as a stoner. But I think it perfectly describes a lot of the jokes and stories that I tell. So even if I was like, when I first started out, I wasn't presenting myself as a stoner. I really don't try to now. I just, let people think what they want, because I do a show called Stoner Morning Show. But I think it makes sense because it redefines it rebrands, I guess, the things that I'm saying. So I think I think it makes sense for the kinds of jokes that I tell.
Also, I think it's interesting because a lot of marijuana, cannabis, pot, weed has been blackballed from like television entertainment, because it's illegality. Like people will smoke a J here and there in a movie, but like it has not been a part of the main culture on mainstream TV.
It's always been a negative connotation.
So I feel like it really does allow a lot of people to get into the market right now because it hasn't been mainstream on TV yet. Like there are voices who are allowed to go through. Like I'd say, I actually can't say exactly somebody, but there's somebody who I want to talk about who made weed a little bit more mainstream. But we'll talk about them later if you don't name them.
Okay.
Snoop Dogg.
No, not Snoop Dogg.
Because I just said that, so
It's a talk show
I was just like, he hasn't been a
yeah.
talk show host, has he? I mean, because it doesn't count. He had a show.
Snoop Dogg show.
with I'm not gonna say that one then. Never mind. Not saying anything.
You
that
can't
would
give
be
any
fun.
hints.
No hints for
Yeah.
you, Shawn Wickens.
We're slipping.
No, I just had other talk show hosts.
Oh, hell yeah.
But Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and Chelsea. What's her name?
I don't know. You
No,
tell
we can't
us.
tell you.
Yeah.
You gotta get the whole name.
Well, just put Chelsea blank for now.
BLANK.
Yeah. Oh, Terry Gross.
Not TV, unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. It's only TV. Yeah.
Have you met a TV host, late night host?
I don't think so.
Did you ever want to? Were you ever like that person who like always watched a show or like multiple, or like you had these like people that were like icons with you? You'd be like, oh wow, I would love to.
I don't think I ever like was really like religiously like looked up to anybody.
That's good.
But I feel like I feel like when I was in like junior high, I liked David Letterman, but for some reason I was just like, oh, he seems like kind of an asshole.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever really was like, I have to meet them. I don't know.
Have you ever seen a taping of any of those shows before?
Good question.
I've been to. I saw Stephen Colbert at the new, like when he went to the Ed Sullivan Theater. And I actually went to his old show with some friends, but I had to leave because I had to go to work. Like, we were like, oh, you have to get there at noon, but you wait in line for hours, and then the show doesn't start till like 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
and
make
then
you wait that long.
yeah, it was weird, but when I was a kid, I went to see a taping of the Big Chuck and Little John show in Cleveland, Ohio.
What is that?
It's very weird, like, you know how there's like horror movie hosts and it's like a guy dressed up as a ghoul or Elvira? This was that kind of show, but it was just two guys.
Oh.
They didn't like dress up or anything. I don't know, so it was very
Weird.
like unique, yeah. But they would do like comedy sketches in between, like talking about the movie and then like showing the movie.
Oh,
That's cool.
yeah.
So I saw a
I'd have to
taping of
see
that
that in
once,
action.
and
Wow.
like when I was like 10, and it was very thrilling
Whoa.
to be there. Okay, it was a show that was on the local CBS affiliate, I think, and at the time there was a Flash TV show, also on CBS. And
It's
so,
like Flash superhero TV show.
yeah. Mark Hamill played a villain. This was like a while ago.
Oh yeah, the old one, the
Yeah,
80s one, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had a Flash T-shirt, and I wear it to the taping because I was like, if it's a CBS, if it's another CBS show, they'll probably put me on the air. And I did get on camera once because they like swept over. No matter what I wore, they would have.
Oh my god.
There, yeah.
Oh wow! Do you want to know the first time I was on? Oh, I wasn't on actual TV.
Oh.
It was just the Shea Stadium
Oh,
jumbotron.
that's
board.
exciting.
People's
Yeah.
Court. I thought you were on actual TV.
Oh, I was on real TV for People's Court. Not
Yeah.
actually. I wasn't a defendant or a.
You were the judge.
other one.
I
I was the guy who made facial reactions behind
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
person
He
who
was
was
the
getting
lead
sued.
judge.
I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? What? Oh my god! You're so stupid! What? Ugh.
You know what? I just came up with a TV show idea.
All right, let's hear it.
And it's that it's like the People's Court, but the judge is either the defendant or the plaintiff from the previous case.
What a great system, also for
Yeah.
the courts, like real life.
Right.
Just rotate them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Brennan, you did see a recording of a late night show, right?
I saw
Ryan?
Conan. Was it one of the times when he was at the Apollo? I went to one of those.
Yeah, I saw Conan at the Beacon Theater,
Oh, cool.
Oh.
which was exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. Beacon Theater, nice.
Yeah. And Conan's great too because like as like a person he's just like enjoyable and like, he seems like he's fun to be around and like especially when you're seeing like a taping you want because like some hosts will talk and like interact with the audience during the commercials but some of them will fuck off and say no, like I saw Beat Bobby Flay and Bobby Flay can give two shits about the audience but like Conan was like talking.
Yeah.
Conan
Bobby
was,
Flay was doing a talk show.
no, he had a.
I was gonna get.
because cooking shows don't count, right?
No, they don't count. No. He just
Yeah.
does cooking shows. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Conan was actually like chill, and he actually was like making jokes, and, like dancing in front of everyone,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
being.
He seems like such a lovable goofball.
Yeah.
Like in real life. That's what I love.
I think that's one of the things about like you. I don't know how you feel about this, but like with like some of the like actual talk shows, like there are some who are like very true to their personality on camera, and then there are some who it seems like maybe they have like an alter, like they're very different once the camera shuts off.
Oh, And what's your question?
The question is,
Do you think you're true
you
to
do.
your on-stage persona?
when
Do
the
you-
lights go off, do you feel like you really are who you are?
is that really Shawn
Or were
Wickens
you
on
just
stage?
commenting?
Or is it just
I was hoping that there would be a question by the end of that.
Yeah.
I started that with no question, and I finished with no question.
I don't think that I exaggerate myself all that much on stage. I think I make my voice sound slightly more confident. And I think it's because I'm like, in my mind, I'm covering up any nervousness I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
And-
move.
And in hearing recordings of myself on stage or asking friends after the show about it, everybody says I sound normal and not nervous at all. So I feel like somehow I'm trying to change my voice to compensate for any like unknowables that are happening, like the fog of war kind of thing. But I think those two things happening make me sound regular.
That is
So I think
very
I'm trying to be
funny.
myself. I think I'm trying to be myself. Maybe I'm trying to be a better version of myself, hopefully. And taking it back to the Four Agreements, that book that I really recommend for anybody who's listening, is I think those 4 things are also great lessons for comedy. The first one being speak impeccably. Like, I really don't try to say anything on stage that isn't something I actually believe. Like I used to have a joke about pedophiles that was a perfectly well-crafted joke, and somebody booed once when I said it, and my immediate reaction was to take it personally, which is another thing that you're not supposed to do according to this book. Don't take it personally, you know. But also, I was like, yeah, why do I really want to talk about pedophiles on stage at all? Like, why do I? Like, it's not really anything that I do want to say.
I respect that.
So it's speak impeccably. Like, I try to. My material, I try to. This is like the thing. I truthfully believe the things that I'm talking about. You know.
So can I just ask, what do you think about comics then who do it for the absurdity, who do say all these things and then you're like, oh, is this actually how he thinks, or oh, is this his persona, whatever he's playing? Because there are many examples of those.
Yeah. Well, I understand how it works in a way, or why it works. It's just not what I want to do. I don't know. I think it. I'm not saying that that's it's bad. I think it's just bad for me. And in some ways, they're probably living by the same rule, because even if they're playing a character and are being absurd and not being who they are on stage, the real them is somebody who doesn't care about whether they come off truthfully or not.
True. Yes. Yeah.
So I'm like. I mean, that is true to themselves as well, I guess. You know?
Yeah. That makes it. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So the other things from the book is like, don't take things personally. If the audience doesn't like a joke, who cares? Just move on.
Yeah.
Don't make assumptions. Like, don't assume anything that you're gonna do is gonna work, because like that overconfidence sometimes kills. Like, it's more fun to think of things as like. All right, I'm going to tell this joke and it might not work either. And we'll see if it does. And then the last one, do your best. It's like, you know, like, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's all you got. You just do your, you know, what are you going to, like, you know, succeed, fail, whatever, you just do it again. You pick it up again and do like, you know, no one's going to die. If you do this, there are no, like, major... Yeah, I don't know. If you're doing it with being honest, there's no major, like, consequence. Like, bad, poor thing, or whatever that can come of. Do you, what about your sense of humor? Like, where does that come from? What do you say, like, or your parents, anybody, like, comics in the family, or did that sort of thing? Or, like, what did you gravitate to as you were growing up? Dark comedy, or these type of films where it's, like, slapstick, or...
My dad loved comedy, and he exposed me to a lot of stuff. Jack Benny, I think, was one of his favorite talk show hosts.
All right. I got that. I was undoing my pen.
Yeah, I noticed. I was like, he's screwing it back together.
But, so my dad was he's very ridiculous and silly, and he's got, like, a very infectious laugh. And he's very lighthearted. Kind of happy-go-lucky, and then my mom was just not funny at all.
It's a good combination.
Yeah, and she was definitely very, like, lovely and wonderful, but just, like, not funny, but enjoyed comedy, but didn't say a lot that made people laugh. You know?
So she was on the receiving end. You think that's why she was with your dad, like, because when you're with somebody who's really such a goofball, and then you're just the...
Yeah, she was not at the receiving end as, like, the butt of jokes. She was receiving jokes of, like,
She heard them.
She was the number one fan, or the audience member of hearing all of these, you know.
So I think I'm I'm the mom version of my dad.
So dry. Dry, got you.
And when I was younger, I definitely liked shittier, meaner comedy. And then, you know, as I got older, I, like... got away from that.
Do you think that has to do with maturity, or is, like, you know, or, like, I don't know, because I still find farts funny, like something like that.
Farts are definitely funny. And but I still do like juvenile stuff. Like Jackass is hilarious to me, and I even like Tosh.0.
Yeah.
Which, like, he does it and it comes off as, like, kind of offensive, but somehow he's able to do it better than some other people.
Yeah, I find him funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I've always been into absurd stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
So-
how I've changed. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm just bombarding you with questions.
Oh, no, that's all right.
But you like,
Well, let me ask you something real quick, because you said
sure.
that you don't do stand-up, so you're...
not anymore,
Yeah.
no, there was like less than a year.
What do you still do? Acting, writing.
Yeah, writing, performing, film, sketch.
Oh, yeah.
Sketch comedy, like,
Yeah.
is the, like, when we did Circuit Break, probably like
You can't see this, but Shawn is posing for a
I
photo
just
right now.
want to know how cool I am.
Yeah.
All the beer.
And you know what?
That caught me off guard.
Do you guys
want
wanna
to
see the-
posing for a picture?
Do you want to see
Yeah.
this picture? Then go to our Patreon then and just like throw some money down. We got so many good episodes, and now you're gonna see this,
Yeah, you're right.
this exclusive picture of Shawn Wickens holding a beer.
You
And
don't get that until you pay $10.
that's right.
$10 a month,
No,
and you can get our film we just dropped.
We're gonna get a new
We're
tier
just
for this
plugging
one.
ourselves.
Yeah.
He's a free up. He's a free up today.
With
Patreon for the next episode.
For the picture, we can do
Behind-
the
behind
picture.
the horn.
Oh, for the
The
picture.
picture,
then.
I mean,
Yeah.
the picture
behind the
first.
horn is what you're talking about?
Go ahead. Sorry?
Is that-
Where the horn?
Yeah. I
Oh wait, no, we just dropped a short film.
Called
Oh.
Knock.
Called
Called Knock.
Knock.
Yeah, it's a separate,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
different film.
I want to talk about the feature film real quick because it's because you sent me a link.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked about watching it. I've only seen the first half hour,
Weird.
and this is like a month ago. So I should have watched it by now, but I will watch the rest of it.
Okay, we have something to do
It's
to
you're
watch
so
also.
It's a
honest.
promising-
Thanks for not
Yeah, I
lying,
know.
You know,
Yeah.
because I mean, you just said you're not this person, but
But it's a promising opening. I am looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, no, we're very excited because we haven't gotten any downvotes on YouTube.
Oh, that's good.
It's like it's
Yeah.
very easy for people to just downvote
It's
us,
true.
and so far nobody has done that. And
Yeah.
I hope nobody
A lot
gets
of
this far
people
into our
see it, yeah.
podcast will downvote us.
I'll show you.
Nobody, eh? I'll show them.
I'll say this to everybody. We all need to be better about watching and supporting and listening to friends' stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
low budget, like do it yourself art should be celebrated.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I agree.
It's very tough though.
And I'm trying to be better
It's-
about it.
People are very busy though, and people
No,
are
it's
very
true.
overwhelmed. Just because, like, when people are home, they're kind of like, "Oh, I'm stressed
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like my job is crazy, my life is crazy. I don't know where my blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it. I get why people don't
Yeah.
respond to text messages. I get it why people don't watch shit
Right.
because it's just like. There's so much craziness. People have lost loved ones.
No,
like
it's
people
true,
don't know
yeah.
if they're gonna be the loved one that is lost. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't really fault people. It
Right.
kind of is just like, if you have extra time, you should be giving your time to your friends. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
if you have the ability to watch your friends, if you have extra money, buy your friends shit.
Yeah.
You know, like support a local vendor, support local farm markets, like whoever you can, just because like Amazon is taking over our country right now. And
Yeah.
there's, like,
Right.
The world.
Yeah.
yeah.
Him and Elon. I forgot my question, but let's move on.
Oh.
You had a question to me?
I have a question. When was the first time you ever laughed?
Oh.
my
I don't
God.
know.
It's
I
a
don't
little
know.
deep.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
I don't
probably
even remember that.
it was probably a self laugh at some bodily thing that happened that was like
Farts.
new. It could have been a fart, or it could have been like the stomach growling, or I don't know. It's probably.
A self giggle?
Do you think?
Yo, because babies, when
Yeah.
they're laughing at that thing is just making them laugh, but it's always a thing or somebody else, and you're just,
Yeah.
or you catch yourself doing something silly and you just chuckle at yourself. That's a
Yeah.
very unique kind of.
Would it be weird if a baby came out, like was birthed and was laughing on the way out? Like, would
like
it be crying? Kind of makes sense, but like,
Well, would it be weird? Yes. The answer is yes.
Yes,
It would
that'd
be
be
weird.
That'd be very creepy.
put it back.
That's such a brilliant idea for a sketch.
Yeah.
Brendan, write that down.
Alright.
I wonder if
You're really gonna write that.
I've heard people talk about how like babies dream like in utero. Like, do you think there's laughter in utero?
Ooh, I hope so.
I bet that's something that we don't know. I guess.
Wow.
I guess it would-
I don't know.
Drop a question.
I guess
Just
it-
tickle a pregnant person's belly.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I guess we would have to know.
I
if-
don't think so.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to know if they are capable of making throat in mouth noises, which they might not be able to in the
because I don't
fluid.
think they're in fluid exactly. They're encased in that, and their condition is.
They probably feel
It's a different habitat. That's why they cry, because they're exiting an entire comfort bubble. Like this is the thing. All they knew. Then you're bringing light into their eyes. You're taking they're probably cold, or you're taking them out because it's warm in there.
Yeah.
So that's why they cry, because you're ripping them literally out of their 9-month universe.
It's trauma, and it's just necessary trauma, but it's trauma.
What we probably think.
So, all right. Do you think a baby has ever been born asleep?
Not even There's like.
It does sound scary. Yeah. It does sound scary.
I think I mean, there are some babies though who do. There's nothing medically wrong with them.
It's hard.
How about a situation where it's a hospital? It's a busy hospital. There's multiple babies being born at the same time. A baby comes out asleep. Another baby comes out laughing, and then wakes the baby that is asleep.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
I think, but I think I don't know. It's also just making me think of like how we would feel if an alien plucked us from Earth. That's just what you're making me think of. I don't know.
Yo, I kind of hope I get that experience.
Yeah.
I want that. Not now. I don't need it now, but like when I'm old, I would love to have that happen. I think.
Do you believe in the extraterrestrial, Shawn?
Do I?
Yeah.
I believe there's some sort of form of life out there. I don't know if I believe that we're currently getting abducted and repopulated and assimilated. I don't know. I don't know. It's like an interesting folklore. I think it's almost like a modern day folklore.
Yeah.
Some people think that they're among us. Some people think they haven't come here yet. Some people
said
think
they've
that
seen
they
UFOs.
don't even exist, and we're the only people.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think of those 3 different options.
Right.
Yes. So
I don't know, there's just too many, but we're not the only galaxy. That's the thing. There's just too many planets out in space. How could there not be other life forms?
Yeah.
Other specimens? All you need is, you can have a one-cellular organism, or you can have multicellular, but something, as long as it's combined with like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, like the elements that were in our, like that can happen.
Yeah.
But how old is the universe? The universe is just gazillion years old.
Too damn old.
There is just no time after a certain point.
Well.
I don't even know. Now we're just getting
The whole
into
universe?
stuff that's way beyond my science level. My science level is probably 11.
That's why you smoke weed. You smoke weeds because then you don't need to know about science. You can make your own science.
Yeah. Oh, this is another weird idea I had recently. And it's that, like, speaking of babies and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, I've always been interested in conspiracy theories just because it's like, just coming from comedy, which is absurdism, conspiracy theories is just like another form of absurdism.
Yeah.
And for years, like, I think I first had this thought in high school. I was like, man, it would be funny to come up with your own urban legend or conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. And I just came up with one.
Ooh, let's start. Is it starting now, or is it already out there in the ether?
No, this is my first time speaking it out loud.
Oh my God, guys, this is the first time.
And it's that the society is being controlled by newborn babies through telepathy.
Wow.
And it's like, that's why things are so weird and crazy and emotional.
Oh my God.
It's because babies, they don't have the language to sort of communicate what they want. It's just like, everything is sort of chaotic emotions and stuff like that. And like, all right, so now this sounds crazy, right? But think about how much people love babies. Mm-hmm. It's part of their sort of like mind control.
Yeah, because they're
thing.
so cute.
Yeah.
And they're also in control because like you're that baby's women. Like you have a newborn baby, you're doing whatever that baby wants to do in the minute it happens.
Right. And people,
so they're like leeches.
And people can say like, that's just biology. But I mean, there's also you hear the stories about like, oh, this baby, it started speaking German or something like that. It's a past life thing.
Now, what if a baby came out of the womb and it was speaking German? Would that be scarier?
That would be very scary, yeah. No, or like
wait,
some kid,
is this real? Are you talking about
I think it was like a Reader's Digest story. Or it was like a kid who had memories of like being on a U-boat or something like that.
Oh my God.
Like saying the names of like
what?
Soldiers that it worked with. So I don't know. So there is like metaphysical stuff
Wow.
that exists within the baby realm. So it's not. Why is it hard to think that? And like people always say, like, oh, kids see ghosts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you're more tapped into the metaphysical when you're that, but then you get sort of indoctrinated and you learn language.
But we've all been like tapped into that metaphysical because we've all been newborn babies.
Yeah.
So with some of us it just sticks with us, and some of us we just grow out of it.
See, and again, this is not something that I truly believe, but it's like it's an easy thing to talk about.
Yes.
I do kind of believe it now, though. Like, how did those babies like? No, but like think about like 30,000 years ago. Like, how did those babies survive? Like, if like. I guess it's a chicken or the egg. Like, is it an adult or a baby
and like
first?
it explains maternal. It explains maternal instinct. Like moms will just say like, "Oh, I know it needs something," and I went to the room and it was like about to cry or something like that. It's because you're being mind controlled by a.
Yeah, but I think that's also because there's a gene that is.
Oh sure. And again, I'm not. I'm just trying to feed into this weird conspiracy thing. And the other reason it's good is because it's weird.
Somewhere
like it has to be weird. It's like almost not unbelievable, but almost believable.
Yeah.
Somewhere a baby had to be left in the wild and it survived. Somewhere along the line.
Yeah, Tarzan.
And it's like, so a baby had to be smart enough that it survived.
Tarzan did good. Tarzan was fit.
Tarzan, he did it.
Just left for dead.
Yeah.
Just survives after that.
George of the Jungle.
If you're listening and you want to explore this idea more, feel free to contact me. Even if you want to, I'm not interested in your bullshit. You calling it bullshit. I want this to become an actual thing. Yeah.
You need to get yourself detached from this now.
Yeah.
So like let it live by like other stupid people spreading it, because like it could definitely become a mainstream thought.
It could.
100%.
Yeah.
And also you can mention it like offhandedly, like you heard it from somewhere. You go to the deli and you're just like, hey, did you hear this conspiracy theory? And you just like plant it around a little bit and then let it go off on its own.
I even went so far
like
as
a baby.
In thinking about it, I even went so far as thinking about like, this can't be true. Like how has this never been studied before? And it's like, well, maybe we've tried to study it, but the babies convinced the researchers to not go on with their research.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you.
This might be a failed comedic premise, which
I believe
is
it.
fine. Yeah.
No, but you know, it's funny you said this because like I had a thought a long time ago. Like, what if somebody just put all of the dinosaur bones in the ground and there were never any dinosaurs?
Oh.
They just put fake bones. And they just made models of like myths.
I think evangelicals think that. I think there are religious people who think that who will say, "Oh, the dinosaur bones were put there by Satan." That you can look up.
What?
Yeah, that you can look up.
Well, hey, good work, Satan, because you did an excellent job hiding them. We're still finding them.
Maybe I am a man of God.
It's the people that think the Earth is only 3,000 years because of the math in the Bible or something like that. So they say like, "Oh, any evidence that you find that the Earth is older, it's just put there by the devil." Yeah.
That's just an easy.
Yeah, right.
You just blame the devil for everything. You didn't do your taxes, that's the devil's fault.
The devil's a friend of mine, though.
That's right.
Oh my god. How many does he have?
He's
Wait, you want to know?
Oh wait, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I always want to know before.
Yeah,
Queen Latifah has a talk show.
That's true.
Drew Barrymore has a talk show.
That's true.
Yes, she does.
Dick Cavett, old school 60s talk show. 70s talk show. Jeez. Put Dolly Parton question mark. I think she might have had one.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Have to check on them.
Live with Regis and Kelly.
Yeah.
Yep. So Bolt, was that Bolt? Did you get two for that or that?
Yeah, he gets separately Regis and Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly went on after Regis.
Yeah.
So she is officially independent now.
I mean, I feel like I can do
She
more.
won't
In a way, I feel satisfied with my number. I don't know. I'll still.
No,
think
you should
of
be
more.
satisfied with your number.
Yeah.
It's a good number.
Yeah.
Do you know your number off the top of your head? Good.
I'm gonna guess 24.
Wow, you're a very smart person.
24?
It's not 24, but it's very close.
Well, Dolly Parton, I do not see Dolly Parton with a talk show. Most of hers are on talk shows, but not as the host.
Oh, I think the lady who played in Mama's Family maybe had a talk show. What's her name? The Carol Burnett. look-alike? I mean, I guess we can't count it. You're not allowed to tell me.
No.
Well, Carol Burnett counts, right?
Yes, she
Maybe.
counts. Yes.
Mm.
What do you mean maybe? But that's because it's a sketch show.
Yeah.
Maybe Lucille Ball had a talk show. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm.
You're getting
Well,
close.
now you're grabbing
There
it, so-
is
Oh,
an
Dean
old.
Martin.
There's
I think Dean Martin. I think.
Okay.
There's an old lady that has had a talk show.
Oh, an old lady.
Didn't you say her already?
No.
And there's some stoner that I didn't get too. I think that you were referencing.
No, that's not what
somebody.
I'm talking about.
Mm.
Older.
Well,
The Dean Martin show was a show. That is correct.
Wow.
he might have been a host of a variety show, but I think maybe he interviewed people too. Andy Kaufman did a special where he interviewed, I think, like friends.
I don't think that counts.
I don't
Sorry.
think
Not a
that
talk show,
counts.
yeah. All right.
You did pretty well. No, this should be a win for you.
Oh, okay.
You should feel very proud.
Wait, sorry.
Alright.
Question: Did he say Jimmy Fallon by any chance?
Wow.
No.
You just-
And I won't.
Oh, was it over?
We
I
won't,
thought
put,
it was
it's not over.
we won't put it on
So
there.
you did a good job. Then you're wrapping it up.
No.
No, I'm not cutting him off.
Yeah.
He still has to say his final wishes.
Well, you get a freebie then.
And like what he wants the world to think about him and
Wow,
what
that's
he's working
huge.
on.
Whoa.
Well, wait.
That's a scary thing to admit, almost.
What is this deal with this film that you sent us? Is that
Yeah.
Oh.
because like I started watching it. When is like how long ago did it actually like? How involved are you? Did you direct that? You camera person that? You produced it? You're involved in it? What's
I did a lot of things. So it was like several years ago. Some friends and I got together and we came up with the premise of like a mockumentary, and it was very low budget. It was kind of done as an experimental thing, as like, let's, instead of auditioning and trying to stumble on an opportunity, let's create an opportunity for ourselves. And I even said from the beginning, hey, let's try to make a bad movie. Let's not worry about making anything good. Let's just try to complete something. But then we did come up with a premise that was, I don't know, we like really liked. We thought it was like better than the low budgetness that it was. And so we shot it, and then it stayed on hard drives for a while because I like started editing it, and then the computer crashed and like all this other stuff, and then like self-doubt, and then like when the pandemic happened, I was just like, all right, I guess I'll finish this feature-length thing that's so low budget, and maybe it's not even that great. But yeah, I'm starting to ask people to watch it to give feedback. It's too long.
it feels a lot like Boy on the Horn, for sure.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'll definitely be able to give you some advice. Yeah, just like the opening sequences were very similar to Beware the Horn, and I was like, all right, some parallel thought. We've been doing the same exact shit in two different universes. I never watched this film, and we shot some of the same exact frames.
No,
No, but it's really funny, and like the stuff I saw so far was very interesting. So
Yeah.
I think like any project is good to complete because like that's like the future. I think is like amateur features, because like if you can finish a feature no matter like what the quality, like that has some kind of value, because like you worked long enough to establish a long form story, and it's like people are fine with TikToks, they're fine with the crappiest quality possible. So like if you could just throw it together in a way that's cohesive, I think people are really open to the like amateur professional producer.
Yeah.
And what was the title?
The working title is My First Documentary.
Nice.
And it's about, weirdly, I mean, there is definitely similarities between our projects, and there's similarities between a documentary that I recently saw on Amazon Prime called The Ringmaster, which is a documentary about the guy in Iowa, I think, who makes the best onion rings. And people will travel from all around to go to this guy's place where he makes onion rings. But the documentary is also about the guy trying to make the documentary and failing at completing it.
Oh, well.
So it's very internal. And so the thing that I worked on is about a guy who makes a documentary but keeps on kind of inserting himself into it. And he's not that great of a filmmaker. Hence why it looks so low budget.
So hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you guys know each project you guys were doing?
No.
Jordan
We shot this like
5
5 or 6 years ago.
No, and
wow.
no.
We didn't know each other.
Recollection.
Wow.
We never talked about our film plans.
No,
we met each other
Wavelength
casually.
Wow,
We just
how
like
interesting.
had a beer maybe, smoked
Sure.
a vape outside of Eastville.
Yeah.
No, but it's
Some
very
things
cool.
on the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So besides that, what do you have coming up in your life? Looking forward to trying to achieve next, like.
Yeah. Well, I just put out that 10-minute comedy album, which I am very proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And
Come on, guys.
What is it called?
It's literally 12 minutes of your life. Like,
yeah.
come on.
What's the album called?
it's the best 10 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
And I did that. I do Stoner Morning Show with my friends every Saturday. We do a Saturday morning show every Saturday, and 3 or 4 times a year we're gonna try to do a 24-hour
Whoa.
telethon.
What's the optimal way to follow Stoner Morning Show? Like, if you were like, this is the easiest way to watch it, like, it's so simple. All you have to do is log on to this app and then it's there.
Through our Facebook page, Saturdays, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, yeah. But yeah, we're going to do a 24-hour fundraiser for the, this isn't a done deal yet, but it's pretty done. New York City's Indie Theater Fund, which raises money for emergency grants for artists in need.
Sweet.
We're going to do a telethon, raise money for them. And we're looking for performers. I'll say that to the people in the room. Let's all follow up on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Also, maybe some people at home want to hit you up.
Yeah, sure.
Can they DM you if they want to make a submission?
Yeah,
perhaps?
definitely, yeah.
Some green-friendly viewers out there.
Yeah. And we always are just looking for guests to talk about anything. It doesn't have to be weed-related. The fun of the show is just stoners reacting to people talking about whatever.
Yeah.
You had my priest the other day. No, I don't have a priest.
Oh, no.
Priest on weed.
We've interviewed skateboarders who also smoke, but you know what I mean? Whatever. Whatever.
Well, congratulations with your 24.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
Double dozen. That's
Congrats.
right in the middle of the pack, I'd say.
Oh, great.
Congratulations for being on Sessions with Mary Jane.
Yes, thank you.
It was
for
really
coming
wonderful
on.
to have your improv wisdom to 3 improvisers here.
I
Thanks
feel
for...
like I still have so many questions to ask.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you want to keep asking questions?
No,
Thanks. I want to say...
Overtime.
I want to say thanks for answering my desperate post on Facebook of what podcasts can I go on.
Oh yeah, no, but I legit I never know who's comfortable being in public, comfortable being stoned and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's perfect, a Stoner Morning Show person,
Yeah.
somebody who definitely would want to be on this podcast.
Sure, yeah.
And it was a great podcast. How #blessed we are. Put him on your podcast now.
Sure.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you, Shawn Wickens.
Do any of you have closing thoughts?
If an alien gets us on our walk home tonight, is that not because you want the aliens to get us, or you don't want them to get us? You don't. Right? Jordan says no aliens tonight. But if it happens, I hope it's a good experience for us afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Last thought, I would definitely appreciate if you had a podcast where you just talk in your soothing voice.
Yeah,
So
I
I
might,
could listen to it as I'm just doing chores or doing anything that I have time.
Oh, here's another thing that I might do.
Shows.
We still have to hear from Jordan his final thoughts, but I think this is a Stoner Morning Show content project. I think I'm gonna put out a video of Stoner Morning Show reading club.
Ooh.
But all I'm gonna do, I just bought a copy of this. I don't know. I guess I'm crowdsourcing or whatever. But I bought a copy of Moby Dick, which is 800 pages long, and I'm just gonna take a video of me slowly turning the pages.
Oh my god.
And so if you wanted to read Moby Dick, you can watch this video and just hit pause.
Oh my god!
In between every...
I love this. Wait, how long do you think this is going to take?
A visual book.
I timed it. The copy I found does have
Are you doing
some
this in
good-
one sitting?
Oh, yeah. It's just going to be one take. I timed it out.
That's so many frames.
Yeah, I timed it out. Turning 20 pages.
Oh God. I love this.
Slowly doing it. And then I, extrapolated it out. It would take roughly 70 minutes
Okay.
to do the whole thing.
Really?
Man, I've never read it. I've never read it.
I've never read it either. It's a longer thing.
You're just doing a public service. You don't even
Yeah. I've never read the book either. I've seen the movie version, which is interesting. I don't know. I could.
So you're not going to read along with it.
No.
You're just flipping pages.
That's it.
Why not also read along and then someone read while you're, so it was like an audio and visual.
I don't want to.
Maybe this
Okay,
is the
cool,
new
yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
too
like not an
long.
audiobook, it's a video book. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. A video. But I got you.
It's the lazy.
No, with no audio.
It's the lazy way to do a reading club.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, no,
So
I
you
love
read
it. It sounds fantastic.
And I think I'll have like a wave
Oh,
sound
wow.
effect in the background. Maybe some whale
Very
noises.
calming. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Some like
Yeah.
shouting, some like going
Yeah.
to the hoop. Yeah.
Are there other action noises, or just
No.
gonna be one consistent thing?
That's too
throughout
much
the whole
work.
book?
It's enough to sit and
Right.
turn
You're-
800 pages.
We're famous for sound effects here at Late Night Hump.
Yeah. I even thought about like, oh, maybe I'll write some funny jokes on Post-it notes to reveal them like at certain points through.
That'd be
But
fun.
then I was like,
No, you
no,
have to,
just do just do that.
do you just not want to do more work?
Yeah.
Probably go viral.
I mean, who knows? I don't know.
That's great.
It's
Remember me
I
when
love
you're
that.
famous.
oh,
You could do that for so many books. That's
Yeah,
a series
exactly.
now.
For public domain books. But also, I mean, if nobody watches it, if it doesn't go viral, if it doesn't get a lot of hits, if it doesn't translate into more subscribers for Stoner Morning Show, it'll still be a meditative thing that I can do for like an hour.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you can always read it if you wanted to. Also,
I could always, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
Hashtag YOLO swag.
well said.
Check
as
out
Lord said.
patreon.com/late night hump if you really want to be our best friend.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be our best friend, just search LNH Studios on your podcast apps. And come on down to New Jersey Weedman's Joint on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
We are still doing that show. We got our shows at latenighthump.com/shows. Wow, what a time to be alive. We're coming into Aries season.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna be
Life is gonna be good.
working in another film,
Yeah.
Ooh, cool.
so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
And I'll
yeah.
drop that whenever.
Yep.
And just everyone get ready for summer, spring and summer.
Wear a mask. Get your